Hello, I'm Matt Williamson, at Williamson NFL. You probably know that by now, but give me a follow. Spread the word. Hit the like button. All that good stuff. Go check out all the DK podcasts. Go check out all the podcasts I do, which are many, all over the place. So, today, we have talked about this a lot, but we have not broken them down. That I very much believe that the Steelers' first-round pick is going to be a defensive tackle of some sort. And I really believe that it is going to be one of these three names. Derrick Harmon from Oregon, Kenneth Grant from Michigan, or Walter Nolen from Mississippi. All of whom would make me happy. And I would take any of them at 21. And I think your draft just goes so much better with a highly talented interior D lineman in the fold. Whether you trade back and get them, or you take them at 21, and you just have to wait the second round out. You got to grab one of these dudes or a similar defensive tackle if you were to move back heavily. But I want to focus on the three of them today. And just so happens, Mel Kiper, who's super dialed in, he's really good at knowing where guys are going to go roughly in the draft. He put out a 2-round mock today. He had the Steelers take Harmon at 21 and all three still on the board. And Nolen and Grant were early 30s. I think both of them fell out of the first round. They did, but didn't last much longer than that. Which, again, I don't think is crazy. Just the way this draft is and team needs, I think that could absolutely happen, that all three might be sitting there at 21, which again screams trade back if you can, but who wants to trade into the 21 spot? That's what I don't know. But man, if you can move back 7 or 8 spots and still get one of these guys and pick up that team's second rounder or whatever, you're really cooking with gas. And I'm sure that's what they would like to do. But I do like all these prospects. I would be very comfortable taking any of them at 21. Let's start with Grant because he's a little different than the other two. Now, he absolutely is, a nose-type player. But a modern-day nose. I mean, he's 6'4", 331 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, big 10 and an 1/8-inch hands, runs really well. He has a lot of ability. And the fact that I called him a nose is a little misleading because I don't think he is just a 2-down plugger on rundowns, Casey Hampton. Those guys don't exist much anymore. And you will see Grant and players of this ilk move up and down the line of scrimmage. And because of his length, you can line him up over an offensive tackle. He can rush the passer on, 3rd and 8 next to Hayward or Benton or whatever. Now, playing next to Mason Graham, who's going to go high in this draft, who I have mixed feelings about, helped Grant a lot because Graham got a lot of double teams. When you look at the All-22, Graham was double-teamed more than Grant. So he got a lot of singles. So I'm talking about some of the negatives here. And as most huge defensive tackles, there are some reps where he pops up out of his stance and plays too high, especially if he's been on the field for a somewhat extended stretch. Not uncommon. I mean, you'll see that even with Vita Vea. But Vita Vea is the kind of dude you think about. I mean, just a physical specimen. And he makes plays. He can really run. He can change direction. There's some pass rush there, but I think there's a lot more to mine as he gets his sea legs under him and learns more technique. And you'll see this with a lot of highly talented defensive tackles, more so than other positions, that they can even dominate in college just because they're so hard to block because like blocking a grizzly bear, and Nolen's the same way. I mean, Nolen was the top recruit in the entire country. He was just more talented than everybody in high school and for much of his college life. Grant's a similar situation where Do I really have to be a technical master with my hand and hand placement and get off and steps and marrying my hands and feet? No, because I'm a grizzly bear and I'm just going to take the center and throw him across the planet. So there is some of that stuff that you won't get away with in the NFL. But he's so talented, he still will kind of get away with it. He's still going to be hard to block while he's learning those things, even for good NFL centers and good NFL guards. So I like Grant an awful lot. There's so much to mold out of him. You know, really, all three of these guys are appealing. But Grant is a little different than the rest. Now, what I don't know is if you just look at through a 3-4 lens, which you shouldn't. I shouldn't even bring this up because that's not how the world works anymore. That he would be a nose more than an end in the 3-4. You know, if you're thinking in the LeBeau terms. And this draft, because I would love to get a second B tackle in this draft too. This draft is really, really rich in like the 3rd, 4th round with other noses. So if you take Grant, could you still take a Caldwell or a Phillips or a West? You could, but it's a little hairier than if you were to take Harmon or Nolen and then take the more pure nose in round 3 or 4. You see what I'm saying? Like just your draft build. But man, I would love Kenneth Grant to be learning with Cam Hayward. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Again, I think one of these three will be the Steelers' first-round pick, especially if they stick at 21, or especially if they only move down 5-ish spots. And I'm cool with all of them. Walter Nolen probably has the highest ceiling, though. And I lean and I change this hourly and all the time of which ones I like better between Nolen and Grant. Harmon's my 3, but I like Harmon quite a bit too. And you can understand why Nolen was the top recruit in the country. Like, this guy's been making money basically every bit of his career. And I think that's why there's some, quote, off-the-field concerns with him. Because Dale and I talk about this all the time on the drive, you know, doing our Steelers show. You can't find any instances. So I wonder if it's just, I'm the top recruit in the country. I don't have to work as hard as everybody else. Things I talked about before. I've been getting paid everywhere I go. A&M to Mississippi. I don't know. But there's not like, oh, here's all these instances of him doing obvious bad things, you know? So that I don't know. And if he falls, that's really the only reason I could understand. Trust me, I don't have his background checked, you know, handy. But he's 6'4", 296, 32.5-inch arms, good, not crazy. 9.5-inch hands, good, not crazy. You know, like, but he is man strong. He came out of the womb strong. He has a ton of ability. He has a very high Pro Football Focus run grade, but he's inconsistent too. I mean, there's times where he doesn't see it, doesn't feel it. His explosion off the ball is pretty rare for a man his size with his power and his strength. But if you put his low light tape together, you'd be like, what's this guy doing? You know, like there's times where he drifts or doesn't see it. But you watch his highlight tape, you're like, he's the first pick in the draft. I mean, it's in him. And boy, more so than any of the three we're talking about today, I want Walter Nolen to spend his rookie year with Cam Hayward and just get the most out of this guy and teach him to be a professional and all the intricacies of the game. I think he is my number one defensive tackle, including Mason Graham. We're not even going to talk about him. But boy, if you can, because you don't need him to be an every down player, but he isn't far from that anyway. And Walter Nolen to me is really, really appealing. Last one is Derrick Harmon, who's third for me, but that's a little unfair because I've warmed up to him quite a bit. I think that there's a legit chance that they just stick and pick at 21 and he's the guy. 6'4.5", 313, 34 and 3/8 arm length, which is crazy. 10 and 3/4 inch hands, huge. A little bit top heavy, but I mean, he ran a 4.95 40-yard dash with a 1.74 split at the 10-yard split at the combine. That's moving for 313 pounds. I mentioned he's a little top heavy. I'd like to see his lower half develop more. But he's also a little older than these guys. I think he's 23 years old, because he transferred from Michigan State. So maybe he's not going to develop as much physically as the others. But he is really active. I mean, twists and stunts and really disruptive. But he didn't do much at Michigan State. So Harmon's somewhat of a one-year wonder. Now, I think he got better coaching, surrounding players. I mentioned Caldwell, the nose tackle next to him. That helps his cause. I mean, a lot of NFL Birch is on the other side of him. A lot of NFL players around him. And beating up on some good competition, of course, as all these guys are. But he is impossible to miss. I mean, he is showing up on tape all the time. Just really active, really disruptive. So I think there's a lot to work with there. I would probably say on April 8th, he's the best pass rusher of the three. But if Nolen puts it all together, he will be the best pass rusher of the three. Grant will be probably number 3 of that group, no matter what. But Grant has different size and dimensions than these dudes. So I'm curious, if you had to pick, which one would you want? I think these are guys you got to get to know. I think there's a really high percentage. One of them is a Pittsburgh Steeler with their first pick, whenever that is. And that would make me very happy. That would be a very good start to the draft and fill your biggest hole on the roster right now, in my opinion, and learn from Hayward and maybe allow Benton to be more flexible. And again, I would like to take 2 defensive tackles, but starting off with one of these 3. Do you have a preference? All right, take care. Over and out.